Hello. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about polygons. Okay, so a polygon, as you probably understand it in terms of geometry, right, means something like this, right? Here we've got something where you've got multiple sides, right? A hexagon, an octagon, a triangle, anything like that, right? So if we want to go ahead and create polygons here, we can say I want 3 sides, and I'll hit enter, and that's a triangle. So technically that's a triangle, right? If I want to create something with 4 sides, that is a square. Could be a rectangle, right? But technically that's what we would call a quad because it has 4 sides. And if I want to create something that has 5 sides, or 6 sides, or 7 sides, etc., 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 right? These are all polygons, but technically these are called n-gons, right? Now, these are as talking about polygons when it comes to actually 3D modeling, right? So polygons, triangles, quads, n-gons, right? So, but again, any type of polyline that is closed is a polygon, right? So for example, if I create just a polyline and I close it and I type in what basically will give me an object's attributes. It's going to tell me that this is a valid curve, a closed polyline with 13 points. And again, in Rhino, just because it's straight doesn't mean it's not a curve, okay? So that basically tells you what polygons, triangles, quads, and n-gons are in theory, right? Now, when it comes to 3D modeling and rendering, polygons are basically these little isoparms, or these things that you see on the surface of these objects, right? Now, both of these objects, these are now meshes, but they're both spheres, right? And if we think about it, right, this is not, because it's not a NURB sphere, it's a mesh now, but each one of these surfaces or facets go together to create this larger polysurface, right? So here you can see, if we zip up and take a look at, there we go, this circle, right? I'm going to go Control Z for a second. You'll notice actually what we have here is we have a mesh, a polygon mesh, inside of a NURBS, right? We'll talk about the difference between meshes and NURBS in a moment, but you can see this NURBS surface, and that's what most things are in Rhino, is this nice single sphere, right? With basically it's actually only one surface. But this is a polysurface, right? And so these are polygons, and these are actually what we would call quads because they're 4-sided polygons. Triangles are 3-sided polygons. If these polygons had more than 4 sides, we would refer to them as n-gons, right? Now, basically this is a very simple polygon mesh. This one over here is a very, very complicated polygon mesh. Each one of these little squares here is actually a different surface, right? And so you're going to hear me and anybody else who does modeling and rendering talk to you about how polygons are expensive, right? So if I select this guy and I type in what, it's going to tell me exactly how many polygons are there. There are 33,153 vertices, 32,768 faces. I'll talk about vertices and faces in a bit, but basically 32,768 faces means that's how many polygons there are, right? If I select this guy and I type in what, and it's going to tell me it's a surface. It's one surface. It's, believe it or not, one polygon, right? And if I run that same command on this one, it's going to tell me that this is a polygon made of 128 faces, right? This has a lot less data associated with it than this, right? And so depending upon, for example, if we go to our rendered view and we take a look at these, right, you'll see that at a distance they all look the same, right? This is the easiest thing for Rhino or any computer to deal with. Now, as I begin to get close up, I can actually begin to see those faces, right? So depending upon where your model is in relation to what's called a camera, that's going to tell you how much detail you do or do not need. All right, how many polygons you do or do not need, right? This one looks the same as that one, but not the same as that one. And if we get in here to our ghosted view, we can actually see the isoparms, the curves, the vertices. All right, so that is, in a nutshell, the difference between polygons, triangles, quads, and n-gons, and they are something that you are going to see on the surface of a model that you create. Okay, thanks very much. I'll see you in the next lesson.